Hello viewers, welcome to Champions Nordic TV. Let's get to the news. UN warns of deteriorating humanitarian situation in DR Congo amid escalating violence. The spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Ravina Shamdasani, expressed serious concerns on Tuesday about the sharply deteriorating human rights situation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, following the takeover of much of the region by M23 fighters. The spokesperson stressed that the capture of Bukavu, the second largest city in eastern DRC, has worsened the already fragile security and humanitarian conditions in the region and also led to a population displacement. Shamdasani accused the M23 armed group of committing human rights violations and abuses against civilians as they seized more territory in the eastern part of the DRC. These violations including summary executions of civilians, including children, sexual and gender-based violence, attacks on health facilities, threats against the judiciary and human rights activists. She added that the OHCHR documented cases of the ill treatment, gender-based violence, child recruitment, and arbitrary arrests of Congolese citizens. Additionally, the spokesperson says that her office has received reports of intimidation and death threats against lawyers and judicial staff following a prison break that occurred on February 14. Judicial staff expressed their fear of retaliation from the escapees due to their role in prosecuting the convicting some prisoners for human rights violations. These threats extended to journalists, human rights activists, and civil society organizations in the DRC who, according to Shamdasani, were forced to leave the country. At the end of her statement, Shamdasani called on Rwanda and the M23 to respect international humanitarian law to avoid the escalation of violence into a deeper and wider conflict, which would have more devastating consequences for civilians and the country as a whole. Similarly, UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk had called to Rwanda and M23 to protect individuals in territories under their control and to respect international humanitarian law, including the Geneva Convention in 1949. He also called for the resumption of dialogue within the Nairobi and Luanda processes. The Geneva Convention protects the rights of civilians, including children and aid workers, as well as civilian facilities such as hospitals and schools in armed conflicts and wars. The human rights situation in the DRC has gained global attention following the intensification of the fighting between the DRC and the allegedly Rwanda-backed M23 group in recent months, which has resulted in thousands of deaths, internal displacement, and shortage of basic services such as electricity and healthcare. Earlier this month, the UN decided to establish a fact-finding mission in investigating the human rights violations and abuses committed during the DRC armed conflict. Additionally, UNICEF revealed an alarming rise in the violence against children in North Kivu, a province in the DRC. The violence and humanitarian crisis further deteriorated with the capture of the city of Bukavu by the M23 fighters on February 17, who on the same day looted the UN Food Programme warehouse and stole humanitarian food supplies intended to vulnerable communities. 2017 CAP tankers flock Harare,